Hey there, Smokemaster D coming at you with another video. Today we're going to ask this question. Is the new mini Chud-Box, which now appears to be the only Chud-Box on their website, which is also about $2,000. It's been featured on Bradley Robinson's YouTube channel, Chud's Barbecue, and it's on his website. Is it a good deal or not, right? And watching his YouTube video introducing it, I was struck by the features that it has in comparison to the old Chud-Box. I think that a lot of thoughtful consideration went into the new design, and I liked it. I liked a lot of the upgrades. So the lip that was, around the entire top, they took out part of it so that you have easier access there to the grate. You can put the grate in more easily. I also liked the holes for the rotisserie rod. Rotisserie is a fun thing, a fun add-on, so that was great. The promise of accessories like the upper charcoal basket for high heat cooking right under that grate, I think that was good too. I really appreciated the undercarriage that allows the whole bolt-on thing to happen without the bolts coming up into the actual chamber. Man, that's good. I imagine that could have been part of the reason for why it took so long to figure out. You don't want bolts coming up into your chamber. So they have this X kind of shape that is sort of an undercarriage under the Chud-Box where you can screw in, it's welded on, and then you can bolt on those legs underneath. Then they're able to ship it better. And that's the other thing, the ability to get freight shipping for this. Chud Pits, as far as I know, they haven't been doing shipping for as long as I've been looking at them. So if you wanted one, when it was open to order, it would be, you had to go there and pick it up, and that was it. There was no other option. And if you're not close to Texas, like I'm not close to Texas, that can provides a considerable barrier. You gotta make a trip. Lastly, the badging is new. So as sort of a status symbol, I've got a Chud Pit. It's there, and as far as I know, previously none of their pits had that. The only way you knew was the distinctive sort of design elements, like the notch door system, or the V grate and back to their offsets. Those kind of design elements really set them apart, but they could be copied. So you don't really know if somebody has one built by somebody down the road at a welding shop. But this badging will set them apart, I think, a little bit. Are there any cons? It's on the small side, so it's personal size, I suppose. In other iterations, they had a full-size Chud-Box, then sort of like a half-size, and then the mini. And the mini is the one that I imagine is sold the most, which is why they're kind of going with that one. But the capacity issue is sort of multi-layered, right? It's there are other smokers of similar size that have more capacity because of the way they use the space, right? So if we looked at the Hasty Bake Roughneck smoker that I recently compared the previous mini Chud-Box to, or if we took different kinds of drum smokers, a lot of them have hanging, so hanging from the top, and that really opens up that space to use. Also, some of them will have racks at different levels. A lot of times, to even out the heat, they'll have some sort of baffle down there, so then it becomes not direct heat barbecue. But a lot of times with the hanging, that's not the case. So capacity is something to think about. If you're doing a really large event or party, this smoker may not cover it, right? You may have to use a bigger one or an additional one, but That being said, for most of the things you'll do, you know, dinner parties, what have you, it will work very well. The size will work well. Another con is you're going to have to season it yourself on the outside. A lot of other competitors will, you know, either give you some sort of coating outside. They make it either out of stainless steel. The Roughneck one is architectural steel, so you don't really have to do anything. It'll rust over, but not through. This Chud-Box is carbon steel that you have to protect. So you're gonna have to do something to make that happen. It's not a big deal if you know what you're doing. And Brad, he gives directions if you want to use linseed oil. That's what he uses in his video. If I really wanted to nitpick, I could say maybe the weight. It's heavy, but heavy's a good thing. Then you have the wheels. The wheels are kind of small. We'll have to see if in the future they have some sort of upgraded wheel option, you know, like some rover mode. But right now, those 5-inch casters probably aren't going to go across your yard that well. But if you keep it, you know, in your garage or on your deck, you'll probably be fine getting it around where you need it to be. But then, you know, to assess a deal, we really have to take a look at a product and a price, kind of in comparison to other similar products and similar prices and their prices. For a historical perspective, though, Chud's Direct Heat Barbecue Chud boxes, they stand on a long history of charcoal grills and the traditions coming from areas in Texas and in the Carolinas. And people have been doing barbecue this way for a long time. Legendary pitmaster Tootsie Tumanets, she's been doing it since the 1960s. You know, she learned from people who were doing it before then, right? And, you know, even since then, consumer products featuring this style of barbecuing have existed. Just one example is the Hasty Bake smoker grill. It has a crank. You crank it, and it has a lifting mechanism for the charcoal. It's been made for a long time, and so, you know, when it's on that lower level, the charcoal is down on the bottom. Very similar kind of effect for direct heat barbecue, and you know, it's $700 cheaper than this this new Chud-Box. It's about I think it's $12.99. So and if you even want to go upscale with the same kind of thing, you know, they have a stainless version, but Grillz has the M1, kind of like an upscale Hasty Bake legacy smoker that has the same sort of crank for their charcoal basket, a nice kind of side door to add the fuel. Then, you know, on the cheap side, ugly drum smokers have become really popular, and you can just get a drum pretty cheap around about. They're used in transporting all different kind of things industrially, so you can get a hold of them cheaply because they're around, and you can make them into a smoker for direct heat barbecue. Even then, smokers with similar proportions and the square style, it's not new either. The Riptangle has kind of been a drum smoker that's square, and that's been made for at least 8 years now. Smokerplans.net has had plans for the Frankencube, which is very similar in a lot of aspects to the new Chud-Box, even more particularly, and that's been sold from the early 2010s even till today, so you can still get those plans if you want to build your own Frankencube that's very similar. Those of you who watched my previous episode on the previous mini bud Chud-Box remember all the things that I said about that Roughneck smoker from Hasty Bake. It has many features in common. You look at it, you see, you know, the door on the bottom for where you add the fuel. You see the top that comes up, the rack that's right there. It's also sold in stainless steel now, so they have a more expensive option. But even, you know, with the architectural steel, there were a lot of good things about it. It has the hanging, which the Chud-Box does not. It has the option for another rack down there. The Chud-Box does not. Has if you want indirect cooking, it's got a diffuser plate, whereas the Chud-Box does not. So all those things taken into consideration. And then you have some of the biggest names in Texas barbecue also sell direct heat barbecue grills. They're generally larger than the mini Chud-Box, more the size and dimensions of those previous full-size Chud-Boxes, or half-size Chud-Boxes. Pits and Spits is one of those. They have their adjustable charcoal grill and their flat top adjustable charcoal grill. And they have raising mechanisms for the charcoal down there. Lonestar Grillz sells a very similar product, 24x48 adjustable charcoal grill and smoker. Also has the raising and lowering components. The Chud-Box quite notably doesn't have that. Is that better? Is it worse? Even though it's this new Chud-Box is a bit more sophisticated than the previous mini Chud-Box, I really do think simplicity and practicality have always been hallmarks of the Chud pits in general, and perhaps the Chud-Boxes specifically. The Chud-Boxes, they feature a more traditional fire area in that no mechanism, it's just built there on the bottom of the smoker. And I think that simplicity is somewhat refreshing in some ways. But there are even competitors kind of in the more traditional lane too. Some of those have been even inspired by the Chud-Box, which is the case with Millscale's new Hotbox. And like everything that Millscale makes, it's very well built, extremely well engineered, and extremely expensive. So if you have a lot of money to throw at it, maybe that's where you want to go. On the other hand, there's a new company that sprung up that sells the Smoke Slinger, and from everything I've seen from it seems to be a one-man operation, maybe two. It is priced very competitively. It's a bargain, y'all. I think it's $2,300 right now. So just a few extra $100 and you have something that looks to be round about twice the size of the mini Chud-Box. It does have basket sort of drawers that come out for the charcoal that, if you really wanted to build a fire on the bottom, I'm sure you could take those out. It also has plates that you can put in. It has more than one rack actually, lower and top rack. Maybe that's a little bit more for just the size of the meat you want, but it gives you that option. And those plates would allow you even to have it kind of be an offset smoker and do a lot of indirect smoking. So it looks like quite a deal for the money that you would spend on it.
Last minute addition here, we have the Galindo smokers out of Channelview, Texas. So that's just east of Houston. Over on the left, you have what I think is a custom build that looks a lot like the full-size Chud-Box. In the middle and right side, we have the Little King, and that is posted on their website. So it's $2,500, $500 more expensive than the mini Chud-Box, the new one that we've been discussing. So is that extra $500 worth it, is the question. Got heat brick on the floor of the smoker, which I don't believe comes with this new one, though the old Pro did have that. So the temperature gauge has an interesting placement too, right there in the stack. Looks like a good build overall. Looks like some quality work. I guess you'll have to decide whether or not it would be enough to tempt you. Maybe if you're in the Houston area, having somebody local could be to your liking. But yeah, Galindo smokers.
Most of the people who are looking to buy the new Chud-Box, they're they're probably not going to be swayed by a lot of these other smokers that I'm talking about. Even that Smoke Slinger, which seems to be so competitive in price. And the reason why is that they're going to get a lot of value out of having something related to Bradley Robinson. He's a very charming kind of person. You watch his show, you really feel like barbecue's fun. He seems to be the kind of guy that you want to hang out with. So watching the show, cooking like he cooks, cooking on smokers that he's made or cooked on, really adds a lot to it. He's got a whole bunch of followers. There's this whole Patreon community, his YouTube community. There's Facebook groups of communities surrounding his smoking brand. So that kind of barbecue fraternity kind of element to this smoker, I think, really for a lot of people will add a lot to owning it, right? So how do you put a price on that kind of value? And for a lot of people, you probably can't, you know? So it's not really going to faze them at all looking at these other options. The other thing, though, about the Smoke Slinger being a great product that it is, and a really good competition, is that the production rate is probably not going to be able to keep up with demand. I really see this thing blowing up in popularity, right? So, you know, one of two things is going to happen. Either the price is going to have to go up until demand goes down, or, you know, the wait list is going to have to get so long until demand goes down, which is kind of what happened with the Chud-Boxes, the mini Chud-Boxes especially, I would think. And it's nice to see that they're finally getting production to a level, a serious level, where they might be able to serve more of the people who want these mini Chud-Boxes. So I really congratulate the Chud team for getting there, having this April run, and who knows how many runs they're going to have. I guess they're probably going to see how this first one goes. I imagine it's going well. And, you know, by the time you're watching this video, hopefully they're still making this thing. And who knows, even then maybe they'll have it kind of in some sort of general production, right? That would be nice. There are companies like Millscale that just do runs now and then, you know, maybe once a summer or something, or twice a year, winter and summer, and you kind of have to get in on that cohort, right, of buyers. And maybe that's how this will go, but maybe they'll get to general production one day. And then, you know, my final analysis on the new Chud-Box is that if you can afford it, I think it's a good buy. You know, while it's considerably fancier than the previous iteration, it's not really about being fancy. It captures the essence and spirit of the direct heat barbecue grill smoker and that tradition, but it makes it fun and accessible. And despite the price tag, I think that this thing's probably going to go the distance. If you, you know, put a little bit into taking care of it, you can probably hand it off to the next generation. And since it's really as easy as lighting a single charcoal chimney and throwing it in there for a lot of your shorter cooks, this could easily become the weekday kind of grill smoker, just making up some chicken, some burgers, what have you, just on the weekday, and kind of fill that place in, you know, the smoker grill needs of your life, right? And you probably are going to have a few different ones, and each one hopefully will have a certain kind of place in what you want to do. But at the same time, I think that it could also go for like longer cooks when you want some of that direct heat barbecue that would be something like ribs or pork butt, even briskets potentially, and sort of add a really different kind of dimension to your barbecue cooking and creating that sort of taste palette, right? One other aspect that I think is really cool is the traditional sort of one wherein you could get like a small burn barrel to complement this thing. You could burn down wood into real wood coals and shovel them into this and have real traditional direct heat barbecue. And I feel like this smoker is maybe better prepared to handle that kind of process than some of his competitors with these baskets and such. So that is exciting, because I think that with that approach, you could perhaps make some of the best barbecue that you've ever tasted. So I see a lot of potential with this Chud-Box. And you know what? If you have one, or if you have any of the other smokers or grills that we've talked about today, please comment down below, give a review for it. If you have any other thoughts, put those in the comments, be civil. And you know what, y'all? Go get your smoker.